Welcome back, guys, to DeFi Eats CFi, or Overrated, Underrated. We're back now, and we're not on a screen like we used to be. We're now in real life, in real here in reality, in the real world, in Lisbon, Portugal. So I'm here with the DeFi Times boys. If you don't know them yet, they have one of the largest, probably the largest DeFi specific podcast in the world, with so many like daily episodes. I don't even know how you guys do that, pushing out so much content. But we're back now. We're going to talk about a lot of things that are happening in the crypto space, and we'll play our infamous overrated, underrated, where we talk about the latest news and just share some thoughts about it. So guys, boys, how are you doing? How's everything going? How's life? How's crypto?
Yeah, I have to say, or I have to admit that I'm a little bit tired since last week. There was so much, there were so many things that took place, but you know, crypto is so exciting. So it also makes a lot of fun to engage with the crypto community and push out content and work with guys with you, and yeah, to be on shows as yeah, like on your show. It's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, man, and I'm also very excited to be back on this channel after such a long time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to play the game again. And yeah.
Before we play the game, though, let's talk a little bit about like general things. It's been a while since we did this show, and usually we always have a little bit of a talk about what's going on right now. So how do you see the current market? Obviously, we had this crazy run to 65,000 on Bitcoin. Ethereum went to like 4,400, but now it's like everything is bearish. Nobody is really interested anymore in crypto. So what would be your number one advice for anybody who maybe joined crypto 2 months ago,
Sure.
bought the peak, and is now like wrecked and you know, doesn't know what to do?
So first of all, what you guys need to do, if or need to know if you are new to crypto, is that in bear markets, there are not many big and exciting news. So you have to get used to it. And prices can, you know, there's a great saying in like the stock markets that says, like markets can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. And I mean, that's basically the case in crypto. So crypto markets, they can stay quite irrational for a pretty long time. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And you, I mean, the more experience you get in crypto, the more you get used to it. And but it's in the end, it's all about like getting through it in some kind of way. Then you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think it's even more easier. Don't put money at risk you cannot afford to lose. And cryptocurrencies are volatile. That's why we pumped significantly during the last months, and now we dumped significantly during the last months, during the last weeks. That's crypto, right? So I think if you just realize those two things, that you just invest in, that you just invest money you could afford to lose, you will be fine. And the other things, I was very shocked when all of my friends text me, oh, what's going on? I cannot afford losing that much money. Hey, you entered the industry like 2 or 3 months ago, and I told you so. Invest in a 4 years time horizon at least, because this is how you make money in crypto. And please invest just in projects you really believe in.
Yeah, agree. I mean, there's like crypto after all is like all about controlling emotions, right? It's about gaining experience, and you only gain experience if you're sticking around and you dig deeper, you connect with people, you read a lot. Most people don't even read websites or white papers. Like, that's shocking for most. I think nobody has ever read the Shiba Inu white paper. I don't even know if there is even a Shiba Inu white paper.
Yeah.
But
we want to wreck everybody.
So yeah, be wise a little bit also with your money. Don't chase pumps. Try to front run them, and you can front run the pumps if you just have a research methodology and also trust into that, right? And spend time reading, connecting, learning, studying about tokenomics, about the community, about the technology, about the team. There's so many things that are free, available, like for free on the website, on LinkedIn, right? You can dig deep and spend some time there. It's just time intensive, right? But that's exactly why we're doing this today. and why also I have a YouTube channel, why these boys have a podcast and also newsletter and also YouTube channel now. So that's what we're doing, right? So if you want to save time on your research, you can just subscribe to our channels, follow them on their podcast journey. And we compress all our research results and all our experience as well, and share this for free here on YouTube, on Spotify, and also in paper, like in written form on their newsletter. But now let's get into our game. So we prepared something that is our version and our interpretation of Overrated, Underrated, which was pioneered by Gary V, and we replicate this for the crypto space. So I hope that this works. Overrated, Underrated, Crypto Edition. First of all, make sure that you also follow us on Twitter at DeFi Times and at CryptoCito. We're pushing out a lot of like also time-sensitive tweets sometimes, you know, that are relevant if you're really serious about being in crypto. But yeah, let's go through. We prepared 9 points today, and we want to discuss a little bit about this, and also share some views if we think that this is overrated in the sense of like overhyped and put too much emphasis on, or underrated. So Fabi, I think, no, Yuri is going to start the current bear market. Maybe first of all clarify if you think we are in a bear market, and also if you think it's overrated or underrated.
Yeah, I definitely believe that we are not in a bear market. And I think that there are two important points I want to mention here. First of all, the people overrate price charts. They just look at numbers, and numbers can change at any time. We could wake up and Bitcoin could be at 10,000 by tomorrow. That's not very realistic, but it could be. But it could also be that Bitcoin is at 100,000 by tomorrow. That's just numbers. They can change. However, I see that many people underestimate what is going behind the curtain of large financial institutions. And I'm always shocked that people don't, you just mentioned it before, that they don't read press releases, that they don't read articles, and that they just look what some YouTubers do and what the price may do. So we're not in a bear market. And there are some examples I want to mention here. We will talk about it in a second as well, but just realize this fact that a country made a Bitcoin airdrop. Please, guys, a country made a Bitcoin airdrop. That's the first thing. The other thing is, I feel that the financial system is very prone right now. We printed so much money, and it doesn't look like the financial system is super strong right now. And the huge difference, and I think that's my main point here, to 2017 and 2021 is not that they are like different years or so, but that we have DeFi, that we have real world applications, that we have real applications that bring added value. And if you look what's going on in Polygon, I could about that like for hours. But if you look what the institutions do, what the big guys like A16Z do, they invest money in DeFi. They launch funds, and the smart money is going into DeFi. And during the dip, Casey Wood and ARK Invest, purchased, I think like, I don't know, they basically bought the dip, the Bitcoin dip, and they also bought Coinbase dip, and also MicroStrategy bought. So I don't care what like crypto YouTubers say. I don't care what the price may do. I care what the smart money is doing. So we are not in the bear market. No, overrated.
What are your percentages, probabilities?
Bear market. Like if we see like an event like Tether is not backed by anything, like something like this, I think it could be a huge pullback. But if we don't see an event like a major event, I would say 99% we are in a bull market, 1% that we are in a bear market. But this could change if we see something spectacular.
I mean, I recommend everybody to check out Bobby Lee. He's in crypto since 2011. I met him in Shanghai, actually. He's ABC, American-born Chinese, I think. But he's the brother of Charlie Lee, the creator of Litecoin. And he put out his tweet in January of 2021, basically predicting, not based on fundamentals or on technicals, just based on his experience of 10 years full-time in crypto. He created and ran the largest exchange in China, the first and largest exchange in China way before Binance. So this guy has a lot of experience. And he basically said that this 2021 bull run could look like the 2013 bull run, right? In which Bitcoin went from $20 to $100, and then it dipped a little bit, or $200, and then it dipped a lot, 50, 60, 70%, and then it shot up to $1,000 or something like that. So 1,200 or something like that. So he says that we have had this first blow off top now, where Bitcoin went to 65K. He was actually predicting 70 to 90K, but didn't quite get there. And now that maybe towards the end of the year or end of the summer even, that we go slowly back up again, and then we have a real blow off top that goes way above 100K. So I think that's very realistic, also given all the fundamental achievements that are, or fundamental innovations that are going to come on a lot of big blockchains like Ethereum, Cardano, Polkadot, Cosmos. So I think we're still in a bull run, but this nasty correction that got a lot of people wrecked is for on technical levels, we are in a bear market, but I think on fundamental levels, and also if you zoom out, we're not in a bear market. So but yeah, let's move on to the second topic. Fabi, that's yours. The China FUD. Maybe you can explain what it is and also what you think about it.
Yeah. So in my opinion, the China FUD is very much overrated. And maybe I give a quick recap of what basically happened. So we had two main FUDs that we saw during the last weeks. We had first of all, we had the Elon FUD, where Elon tweeted a lot of bearish things about Bitcoin, and he even mentioned or indicated that Tesla sold Bitcoin and stuff like that, and then the markets dropped. And then shortly after that, like a few weeks after the Elon FUD started, we had the China FUD, and the China FUD is like the best known FUD that we ever had in crypto, because since Bitcoin started, we had news that China was going to ban it. And for me, the China FUD is in that sense overrated, because like we have known for years that China was not very crypto friendly, and it's nothing new. So for me, it's not very understandable, because at some point the crypto market has to realize that China is out of the game, or will be out of the game very soon. And for me, it's kind of like not very understandable that the crypto markets haven't really priced in the China FUD at this point. But what actually happened in China? So basically, China went after the miners and basically banned Bitcoin mining out of China, or banned it more and more and more. And also China was going after commercial banks that were allowing crypto transactions to crypto exchanges and stuff like that. So kind of bearish news from China. But all in all, nothing new. We have known this for years. Since Bitcoin started, China was going after Bitcoin. And for me, it's just overrated and not very understandable.
Yeah, I think it's also important to add here that China didn't release any law. And again, I want to refer to Bobby, because he's also a very deeply, obviously he ran the largest exchange in China, so he definitely knows how Chinese regulators think, right, and lawmakers. So they didn't actually release a law, but what they actually did is they changed enforcement, right, of certain things. And so what they did is, now actually a lot of also exchange founders, like Fabi was saying, are under arrest, like not in the jail, but actually at home, so they can't leave their house. They're very closely observed. And there's just a lot of things that, are piling up. And I think over the years, crypto really grew a lot, the overall demand. I lived in China myself for 1.5 years. I think in total 2 years, I've been there 6-7 times. Man, this place is the epicenter of crypto development. The amount of tech people there, the amount of community members and events that's going on there is always growing since 2013, when they first started to gained traction there, or 2012 or something like that. So it's not you can't stop it, it's unstoppable. But I think at the same time, China wants to protect their power situation, right? So they want to maintain control and power. They also rolled out the Chinese digital yuan, which already has 10 million active users, much more than Bitcoin in terms of like, you know, regular users. But yeah, I think that's part of the plan, right? And it's also part of the Bitcoin side effects, right? It's open, decentralized monetary system. So central banks, large governments, large economies are not friends of that, right? They don't want to fight it because they know they can't, but they have to impose somehow enforcements or regulations to at least keep it small. So yeah, but overall, I think it's also overrated. But you saw the hefty price reactions, and you know, actually this time for real, miners moved out of China. So I know I'm in a lot of WeChat groups, mining groups as well, and they all closing down the groups now because they're scared. And there's a lot of like, oh, I want to sell my miners. Does anybody have contacts in Texas or in the US? So they are actually shipping out their mining devices, hardware mining devices, out of China, which is a big deal because I think up until recently, 60-70% of the hash rate has come from China. But yeah, that's just temporary. I think most likely priced in already, like Fabi was saying. So I also think it's overrated. Let's move on to the next one. El Salvador making Bitcoin a legal tender. Overrated, underrated, and I'll take that one. Personally, I think you have to see this from different angles, obviously, but I think it is a huge, huge deal, and I think it's actually still underrated in mainstream media and also for the general people, because it's the first time ever that a country recognizes Bitcoin as a currency. And legal tender means that there's a law that was passed from the president, actually, who says, okay, if somebody in trade, right, if somebody is at a hairdresser and wants to pay in Bitcoin, the guy who owns the hairdresser shop has to accept it. Like, that's what legal tender means, right? You have to accept it. You cannot refuse to accept Bitcoin, right? If somebody wants to pay in Bitcoin, you have to accept it. So that's a big deal. It shows that there's some, at least governments and nation states that recognize this potential. But it's also fair to say at the same time, like El Salvador is a very small country. They have a huge struggles internally. They don't have their own national currency like other countries in Latin America. They use the dollar, right? So Bitcoin and the US dollar right now are two legal tenders right now. But I think we'll see what big of an impact it has, right? And it's the first domino maybe that has fallen. Other countries might follow, right? After they announced it, a lot of other central bankers and politicians have changed also their profile picture on Twitter to this laser eyes bullshit. I don't even know what it means, but yeah, so they have changed that and shown also interest in maybe exploring the potential to accept Bitcoin for their countries and implement it as legal tender. So yeah, I think it's still underrated. I think the Bitcoin maxis, on the other hand, are a little bit overrating it because they're obviously freaking out right now. But in the end of the day, El Salvador, the president, he's also, you know, running a business, right? So he's also running a country, but also from a business perspective, he wants to attract people to come to El Salvador, right? So I think also a lot of other companies are going to expand there. A lot of other cryptocurrencies are going to establish offices there just because they want to ride also the media wave. But yeah, so I think wildly underrated for mainstream media and the general public, but a little bit overrated for Bitcoin maxis. Yeah, let's move on to institutional DeFi. Yuri, that's yours.
Yeah.
Maybe you can explain what it is, first of all, because I think that's
a couple of minutes ago. A couple of minutes ago, I scratched a little bit the surface of it. So there are many examples of institutional DeFi. So first of all, I feel it like this, that DeFi is becoming more and more the back end of today's financial system. So we had Chris Griffin on the show, on our show at DeFi Times recently, and what they basically do, and I think this is a very good example that explains it quite well, how we see like how institutions will use DeFi for their services is the following. What they do is that they offer a bank account alternative, which means that they mint your euro or your USD, and then they deposit it on money markets like Aave, and then you are insured by the Lloyd's insurance market in London that your deposited assets are actually safe. However, you still get the returns of Aave. Why is this so interesting? Well, because nowadays you get like 0.1% at the bank as a return, while the while inflation is getting bigger. So in the end, you basically pay money for depositing money into your bank account, but on Aave you'll get at least between 2% or even much more. So this is like the narrative behind it, that DeFi is becoming the back end for institutions, and we also saw ENG, which is a very large bank in Europe. They also seek for opportunities how to use DeFi, or how to offer services that solve problems in DeFi. They published a white paper about why DeFi will disrupt banks even more than Bitcoin does, and I think just the title to say DeFi and we are aware of DeFi and we think DeFi will become big from a bank, I think that's kind of a statement. And last thing I want to add here is we also have KYC pools at Aave. This means that they are more tailored for institutions, so that they really know, okay, who is part of the pool and who not. I think this is also, I have to admit that my narrative changed in DeFi regarding that as well, because I basically thought in DeFi Summer 2020, okay, banks, bye-bye, but I think we will see some banks who adopt DeFi services and they will stay relevant, and then we will have a lot of banks who just die out. Nonetheless, everybody in the world will be able to use the backend. It's like with the internet, everybody can use it, everybody can code JavaScript if they want to do it, and of course, there are some exclusive services by banks. So this is how I view institutional DeFi. And this is also the reason why the bull market is not over. It's not over because these institutions will use them. The institutions are there and they use these services. And A16Z, last thing, they launched the biggest crypto fund. And in these funds, in the crypto fund too, they have Chainlink, Uniswap, MakerDAO. What do you want to hear? Please follow your octopus in your chart, but I will follow the fundamentals and I will look what these institutions does, and they go into DeFi.
Yeah, and I think the best thing about DeFi is that's why it's also so interesting, more interesting for institutions and funds, especially family offices, hedge funds, is because you could generate cash flow with it, right? So up until 1 year ago, that was not possible. You couldn't generate cash flow in crypto. Like you could only speculate on a price, but not on yields, right? So this is huge, and we have 1 year of proof that it works, especially like Aave, Synthetics, those huge DeFi blue chips that are running on Ethereum, and now we see more and more on other chains as well, which are more scalable, faster, and maybe even more secure because they use different models. And we have now the second mover advantage, second wave. So I think that's also huge.
And and also one thing, I think one thing why institutions will become even more bullish on DeFi is the next point. Fabi will introduce us to this point.
And Fabi, you have only, because our time is running, you have 1.5 minutes for this one.
Wow.
So keep it short, bro.
Okay. EIP1559 in short is, in the short run, overrated, and in the long run, underrated. And I'm going to explain it very simply for you to understand why I think that. EIP1559 essentially burns the majority of the transaction fees on Ethereum. That means every time you make a transaction or interact with any smart contract, the transaction fees that you pay, the majority of that goes to the network. So basically pays like the network, which means that you burn the transaction fees. And that makes ETH as an asset pretty much scarce. And what we can actually achieve is like negative inflation. So that basically means that the inflation that ETH is issued like every block is basically lower than the burned ETH every block. And that means that we can have a negative issuance. And you can compare it to like the Bitcoin halving, which essentially does the same thing. Like it lowers like the emission schedule of Bitcoin. And what we see just after the Bitcoin halving, we see basically nothing. But in the long run, it basically lets the price explode. And for me, EIP1559 will basically do the same thing. In the short run, it will do nothing. But in the medium to long run, it will like have a huge impact on the price.
Very well said. I think I was about to disagree with you because I think it will have an impact in the short run, because a lot of people underestimate it and don't really understand what it is.
Yeah.
And I also read somewhere that there are some calculations that EIP1559 is the equivalent of 3 halvenings on Bitcoin. So, and we have, if you just need to go back on the price chart of Bitcoin and see what happened with the Bitcoin price after May 1st, 2020, which is when the last Bitcoin halving happened, I think. What happened with the Bitcoin price shortly after? Like, not like a day or two, of course, like if I was saying, that's why I don't disagree with you, because a few days after that, we'll not see anything probably. But then 6 to 8, 10 weeks later, you know, when everybody's like, oh, nothing has happened, then the price is going to moon. It's going to go through the roof.
As I already mentioned, we are in the middle of a bear market.
Because guys, like, this is so important to understand. It's simple. It's very similar to the Bitcoin stock to flow model, which we have covered here as well. Because if you anticipate same demand or even rising demand, and we talked about institutional DeFi, all those kind of things, but then a supply shock, price has to go up because there's less available and more wanted, right? It's always like that in life. If you have less and you want more, it's more valuable. So ETH is going to be an ultimate scarce asset, way scarcer than Bitcoin, I think, more deflationary. So I think it's so interesting. But let's move on to the 6th point here. Shiba Inu. I'm gonna take this. It has been one of the most hyped meme coin, or dog coin actually. And I think we all talked about this a few weeks ago. We all regret that we didn't get it earlier, because this was an absolute no-brainer that this thing is going to moon, simply because of Dogecoin and Elon Musk, right? So Shiba Inu, for those who don't know, is actually the real dog. Like in the real world, if you buy the Dogecoin, it's called a Shiba Inu, right? And the original Dogecoin is called Kobazu, and his kind of race is Shiba Inu. So somebody created this coin, sent half of the supply to Vitalik, the founder of Ethereum, and then it just went viral because of the branding, because of, you know, because of the dog, because of the memes, right? And even I think Elon Musk's, I don't know if he tweeted about it. He tweeted about a lot of random coins like Cum Rocket, and I don't even know. But it has been listed on Coinbase. This is crazy. It's absolutely nuts. I don't even know what it does. I have no clue. I think it's wildly overrated by a lot. Also, the Coinbase listing doesn't make any sense to me. This is not any sort of innovative tech that helps anybody. This is just a speculative dog coin, right? It doesn't do anything. Similar to Dogecoin, it's a joke, right? But people buy it, and that's what counts. Unfortunately, we didn't buy it. Otherwise, we would sit in Dubai now, in the 60th floor of a 5-star, 6-star hotel. But that's what it is. So wildly overrated. If you still want to buy it to be part of the revolution, go ahead. I'm not doing that. But yeah, it's a hype. It's a meme, and I don't see any fundamental reason to buy this in the longer run. So yeah, let's move on. I think Yuri, you're gonna take this. Cosmos DeFi. What do you think?
Should I pump your bags, bro?
Pump our bags.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm very excited about Cosmos. There are several reasons for that. I also want to keep that one short. But there are several developments in Cosmos right now, such as the Gravity DEX, which is basically a decentralized exchange that is compatible with Ethereum. That said, people can transfer assets back and forth between the Cosmos and Ethereum ecosystem. But it's even bigger because, see, there is the IBC, it's the Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol, and it, yeah, it enables pure interoperability. We cannot even think about it today. You will also talk about it in a minute. We also see Osmosis, which is a freshly launched decentralized exchange on Cosmos as well. So we will see more and more projects that use this infrastructure to embrace an interoperable DeFi ecosystem on Cosmos. And there's also, this is basically what makes me the most, I think that's the most bullish argument for Cosmos, is that Cosmos has a developer kit. It is called the Cosmos SDK, and people can use this software developer kit to achieve those characteristics for their protocols. And we see some very big protocols who use SDK, such as Osmosis, but also such as Kava. And that's the reason why I'm very confident about that DeFi is coming to Cosmos, and this is also good for Ethereum. And then just imagine this, you can use Cosmos and Ethereum, and you can use arbitrage opportunities with Aave in another ecosystem. It's going to be absolutely huge. And I'm very bullish on DeFi, on Cosmos in general. So yeah, I hope I pumped your backs, bro.
Let's see. You didn't say Atom at once, so
yeah, but
I didn't pump anything.
Yeah, but Atom is as crucial for the Cosmos main hub. So
yeah. No, I think the point is really of Cosmos and Cosmos DeFi is that the goal is to connect all blockchains, right? Because right now everything that happens on Ethereum is isolated. Everything that happens on Bitcoin is isolated, but Cosmos aims to seamlessly connect the two without having to have bridges that are mostly run by centralized companies and organizations, but in a decentralized way, right? Where the switch from one chain to another goes through the entire validator network. So that's a real revolution here, and it goes super fast. I've done several IBC transactions now. It's really, really cool. Also in like stress tested on Osmosis. But yeah, Cosmos DeFi. So you say it's over or underrated?
Completely underrated.
That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, next one, Internet Computer. It's a brand new project and coin that came out of nowhere. It's actually not brand new. It's already in works for many years, but the coin is brand new. And there has been some scandal about it in the past few days. So I think, Yuri, you want to take this one because Fabi doesn't know anything about them. He has never heard them. So Yuri, what do you think? Overrated or underrated?
I have to admit that I was a little bit excited about ICP in the first place, because you heard very good statements about ICP, so the excitement was very huge, and I said, okay, I keep it in mind, because you had also, I think even Vitalik said, okay, that's quite interesting. So I said, oh, okay, even Vitalik says that then things are going to be interesting. And then it went up into the top 10, and I was like, okay, interesting. But, I was more bullish on Cosmos, etc. But now it happened, basically the whole team behind ICP, and we just talked about it a couple of hours ago in another episode, which will come up by tomorrow. The team is super important behind the project, and the team behind Internet Computer basically dumped their bags, and there were a lot of investors behind them, like institutional investors even. So people like big money was behind it, and the team just dumped their bags. And
I mean, let's first start with like the positive things, or like protecting them. It's not uncommon for founders, project creators, and the main foundations behind projects to dump their bags, right? The Ethereum Foundation has done it over and over again. They sold the $1,200 peak in 2017. They just recently sold, actually, I think, was it 20,000 ETH or something? I don't know, like thousands of ETH. Like they just sold at 3.5K. So it's not uncommon for them to sell. But the thing with Internet Computer has been that it's a project that was supposed to launch their coin in 2018, right? But we all know what happened in 2018. It was a large bear market. No one was interested in crypto. It was like super capitulation. Nobody cared about crypto. So they postponed the launch, but they have already sold their tokens and the evaluations from back then. And back then, the evaluations have been much lower than they are today, right? So people bought ICP at 10 cents. I think that was like, or even lower than that, like a few cents. So what then happened is, as the bull run boiled up in January, February, March, April 2021 this year, I know, because I was even trying to get some of the coins on the OTC markets, but it was so hard. It was impossible. And I did some calculations. I was like, yeah, maybe $3 to $5, like that would be already pretty high, because then those seed round investors have a 300, 500x, which is nuts. But then the prices started at $10 in January 2021. And then 2 months later, they were at $100. I'm like, man, this is crazy. So when they got listed, similar to Yuri, I was also excited about the tech and, to see how far they are with the product and everything. But I saw like they were like hiring TV teams, television teams, like to make real productions and marketing content
but
on a very, 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 very high level. And then they immediately got listed on Coinbase, and the price shot up to $700. So imagine they made is it a 750,000 or a 7.5 million X? I don't even want to know. But seed round investors made shit tons of money. The foundation obviously never paid for those coins, so they have those coins anyways, right? Out of thin air, so to say. And that's all fine, right? Bitcoin also came out of thin air. Ethereum came out of thin air. But what they did, and it's kind of like the controversial part, the foundation changed the schedule, the vesting schedule for early investors. And also they had a large airdrop for the community, and they went from unlocked coins to implementing a vesting schedule so that they can't sell. However, the Definity Foundation tokens, or ICP foundation coins, they have been unlocked. 20 million of them were sold on the open market at an average estimated price of $300, which equals $6 billion. $6 billion. So that's the whole thing about it. Basically putting a disadvantage on their own investors, early believers, early backers, community, and then dumping on the heads of retail, because everybody was FOMOing, right? It's listed on Coinbase, it has to be big. Or it's in the top 10, it has to be big. I think it was even in the top 5. So that was kind of like the whole story. I can't say much about the technological layer right now. It's a huge project, obviously. I think they're super legit on that end. Like you were saying, Vitalik talked about them and even said, I think they're one serious like competitor, or I don't know, competitor if he said that word, but to Ethereum. So he actually spoke very high of them. But that's the thing, man. Like that's Wild West in crypto. That's why whenever a new coin launches, in the beginning, especially if there's like a lot of seed round money and VC money involved, I would wait for a cool off. It's always the same thing, man. When they get listed on large exchanges, wait for a cool off. You most likely get a better entry. But it has been another big reminder, and those numbers are insane. 6 billion out of thin air, crazy.
Yeah, but I have to say what you just mentioned is I'm a little bit skeptical when things are getting so overhyped.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was the case here. And what I also don't understand here is the following: that if you made so many exits, why do you have to dump everything? It's like in the sake of the project, I was a little bit disappointed. But anyway, let's talk about the last project of today.
It is what it is, yeah. Let's talk about one of my favorites right now, and the best kept secret in crypto, Osmosis. So by the way, I think we all agree internet computer, like the whole story is a little bit overrated right now. But Osmosis is the opposite. It's completely underrated. Nobody knows what it is. It's the major milestone achievement for Cosmos DeFi. It's the first automated market making system on Cosmos that implements IBC. Already 9 chains are packed to Osmosis, so you can trade sovereign blockchains on Osmosis in seconds without having to pay high fees, right? Osmosis is a sovereign blockchain. Akash is a sovereign blockchain. Persistence, Atom, they're all running on different blockchains, but they're connected through one pool, one platform where you can have different pools, provide liquidity for, earn fees, but also earn high yields because they just launched, right? So that's the main thing in crypto. If you are early, then you are most likely going to benefit the most, right? Especially in DeFi, when new pools open up, the yields are super high simply because most likely the inflation for the native governance token is pretty high, but also the pools are still very low, right? In terms of liquidity that is provided there. So it's wildly underrated. You know, a lot of cosmonauts are making shit tons of money right now, and that's great to see. You know, every 24 hours you get paid out the rewards for liquidity providers, but also staking rewards. There are some additional incentives right now. Obviously, the game theory is really thoughtful to attract a lot of users. And I think they already have 10,000 users in the first week, which is crazy. Like 10,000 users in such a bear market or negative sentiment that we have right now. So I think it's wildly underrated. And I can't wait for Gravity DEX, which is then the next step. I would say Osmosis is more like the balancer of Cosmos, and Gravity DEX is like the Uniswap. So there are different goals with that, but we'll see how they will work out together in like real circumstances. And the demand is just crazy. I mean, it's growing a lot. Now slowly crypto Twitter is waking up, but not really. I think it's still very underrated, under the radar. So yeah, but that has been it. Any final thoughts on what we talked about today? Anything that you think is important that you want to mention?
Maybe just please don't focus too much on prices. Focus more on the fundamentals. Look at what the smart money is doing. Keep calm and don't put money at risk that you cannot afford to lose.
Yeah, and once again, thanks for having us. Cryptozito. Cryptozito is underrated, and guys,
And his t-shirt is even more underrated.
Yeah, of course,
fingers crossed that, like as Yuri said, that we are still in a bull market, and if we are not, if we are entering a bear market, you all know it's not financial advice what we say. And apart from that,
but you should buy that. That's what he's trying to say. So yeah.
All right. Thanks for having us, and it was a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, comment this video, also share it with some friends on your LinkedIn, on your Twitter, tag us, contact us on Telegram. We're always happy to connect. Also, these boys have a channel on Discord, right? So you can join there as well. And I'll link everything below. So yeah, see you next time. Stay safe, be good, and let's hope that the bulls come back.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.